What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Feed the Beast, and man, it's been a while, and there's been a lot of work done while I was on vacation, and unfortunately, I couldn't upload it all because I don't have any internet up there, but fortunately, you can play Minecraft offline. So, I got a lot of work done, and like I said, we're going to be doing an overview of my whole power system today, and this is going to be my main power system. It also gets me wood and apples, and I really like it. So we're gonna go through this whole thing, and if you're curious about any specific parts, you can either post it in the comments and I'll try and explain it to you, or you can go back and watch some of the previous videos. The last between 5 and 10 videos are about this because this has been a big project, and I personally love this. So I hope you guys enjoy it too. And if you don't recall most of the things that you're seeing right now, that's because there have been a lot of changes made, and I'll explain those as we go through. So, we need to start out with the Steve's Cart tree farm, and this can be any size you want when you make it, but you just pretty much need this cart right here, and this one is running off of mainly solar power, and it's collecting saplings, wood, apples, and it's using some of the wood along with coal coke to power itself when it's not using its solar engine, and it just goes around the track, cuts down the trees, and when it gets to this track right here, it's going to drop all of the storage in the cart off. It's also going to drop a stack of saplings off, and this is if I want to put fuel in the cart, but I'm not going to do that because it puts its own fuel in when it uses solar power, and then it puts its own fuel in when it uses the oak wood. So you don't really need to worry about fuel. And then right here we have an autarkic gate, which is set to redstone signal off energy pulsar, so it's just a consistent energy pulsar, and it's going to pull out anything that's in there, and it's going to put it into this diamond pipe, which is going to put the apples and the oak wood out through the top, and then the oak wood will come out down into the bottom, which goes into this barrel, which has an interdimensional storage unit thing, or whatever it is, barrel upgrade, and then we'll put the apples into this barrel, which doesn't have an upgrade because I've been eating these, and it doesn't get as many, so I don't need to worry about it filling up. Then the saplings go through the blue side, and they come over to the item tesseract marked tree farm, which comes over here, and this receives the items, puts them into a barrel, and then the barrel also has the upgrade on it because you get a lot of saplings, and it's hooked up to a retriever. Now, a retriever requires bluetricity, and I get those using solar panels, and pretty much whenever it pulses, it sees if anything that's hooked up to this side of the pneumatic tubes needs what's in here, which is an oak sapling. And I have the fermenters hooked up to it, and we actually may be able to see when this one runs out, but when it uses up a sapling and it can take one other sapling, and this pulses, it pulls a sapling out from this barrel and puts it in there. So if these ever need a sapling, it just pulls it right out of there and puts it down here. If I ever need a sapling, I just come up here, I can grab a stack, and I can put a stack in if I need to. Doesn't really matter. And then eventually I might get fertilizer set up, but I'm not too worried about it right now. So fermenters require water, saplings, fertilizer, and power. So right now we have the saplings part covered, and we have the water part covered with the aqueous accumulator. It's a really easy to understand machine. You pretty much have water source blocks on at least two of its sides. It generates a lot of water, and then you can just put that through a liquiduct to whatever you need to. So that's what's giving the water here, and then we're pulling out the biofuel or biomass that's created and putting it into this liquid tesseract right here into the frequency marked biomass, and it requires a redstone signal to pull out using the liquiducts, which is why you can see they had to be wrenched, unlike the aqueous accumulator. So that's pretty much all that needs to be done up here. Whoops. Down here we have the energy tesseract marked solar power that is giving electricity from the solar panels that are up here. Those get electricity and give it down to this MFSU, which collects power, and it then gives it to these electrical engines, which need to be upgraded. And they do slowly lose energy in here at night because they don't have enough, and they're not upgraded enough, and they slowly gain energy during the day. So if I sleep for a decent amount of time, then it won't lose, it will have a net gain of power through a day-night cycle. These are going to always be on because they're going to be always powering this, and I'm sure I don't need this many. I'm sure I can calculate how many I need, but in the future we may add more fermenters up there, so I want to keep it so I don't need to change that. And if I did take one out, I'm pretty sure I would always be gaining power, but I'm not too worried about it right now. So these are pretty much just giving power to, oh, they should be giving it to that. I'm sorry, I broke that. I wasn't paying attention earlier and never changed it back. But they should be giving it send only to solar power, and this is going to be receiving only solar power. And then over here, once the biomass goes into this liquid tesseract right there, it comes over to this tank right here, and just make sure this thing is set up correctly up here. Yep, so it's receiving only biomass, and it looks kind of weird because it's automatically getting pulled out to these, but pretty much what's going on is the biomass is going through a buffer right here, and it's coming out through this liquiduct, which is powered, needs to be, and it's going into these biogas engines, which generate power using lava and biomass. And if you don't know this already, if you have biomass and lava, it doesn't use up any of the lava ever, so you don't really need to worry about that. And these aren't going, but if this right here, which is a wireless receiver, receives power from anywhere, which from a wireless transmitter, that's what it would come from, these will all turn on and they'll start giving power to main MJ power. Now, these will be set up, or the transmitters will be set up in any spot that I need, like down here for the lasers. I could just hook it up here. Like, I can change this right now to main MJ power, and then down here I'll put like a switch that I can flip when I want to use it, and it'll turn these on, and then that'll get power. And these do generate a fair amount of power and don't use too much biomass, so we'll start building it up in here, especially if I'm not using stuff and just sitting around. It'll build up, and that'll be really good because then we can just like use a massive amount of it and then let it build up again. So that's why it's a really good source of power, and that's why I prefer it over solar panels. And I also prefer it over solar panels because it's a unique kind of power, and everyone uses solar panels. I mean, I'm okay with using them to power stuff to get other power, but like what I'm using here, but I don't really like to use them to power just like in general. They're kind of boring, they're bland, it's gross, you know, it's not great. And if you're curious over here for future plans, this, whoops, Fritch, can't right click on that. I thought it had an interface for a second. This is a holding track, and if a holding track's powered, stuff can go over it. If a holding track's not powered, stuff can't. And in an attempt to prevent the power from decreasing, I was planning on using a day-night sensor, which I had set up down there, but I realized that with these solar panels I didn't need it, and then I thought that I may end up just using, if it updates the day-night sensor block that's now in Minecraft that gives off a certain amount of redstone signal, like it's a different strength redstone signal for however much light there is. I was planning on using that, but then I decided against it, so I can just get rid of that whenever I want if you were curious. But if it's powered, it doesn't really matter, so I'm just keeping it there. And right now you can kind of see that, oh, that's cool, I didn't even know it did that, but you can kind of see how this one needed a sapling, so it pulled it out. And because this pulses every 2.5 seconds to check, it sent out more than needed because it wasn't, the sapling wasn't to this fermenter by the time it pulsed again. So when it sent it out, it went over, and one came down here, and the other one just shot back in. We actually may see that happen again. Oh, whoa, both of those needed it. Okay. So they're all finishing their cycles right now, actually. And we should be getting the biomass down here. And it should be building up. Unless it's storing it in the liquiduct. Okay, yeah, so it's storing some in the liquiduct. But it'll start building up in here. And it's not a really big tank, but that's because we're going to be using it regularly. Sorry about that interruption, guys. But that's pretty much it for what I have to describe about this whole system. I hope you guys enjoy it. I didn't really take it from anyone, so it's kind of my own little personal creation. I'm sure people have done it before, but I take pride in thinking that I came up with this on my own through what I've learned about Feed the Beast and know about it. So I like this a lot. I like it for power, and I really like the whole concept of it in general. I also think it looks really cool with everything that it uses, and it does take up a lot of space. I know that, so that can be a turnoff. This is really all you'd need if you want to use electrical engines for power, but I think this is awesome. It gets you a lot of stuff, and it's just fun to make. I had a great time doing it, so I just I think it's worth making in any world you guys have. And be sure to give me feedback in the comments as to if there's anything I can improve, or just tell me if you guys like it, if you use it. I'd love to hear. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video for today. If you haven't already subscribed and you like what I put out as content, be sure to subscribe. Give the video a like if you liked it. Give it a dislike if you didn't like it. But if you dislike it, please just tell me why you disliked it so I can fix that in a future video. And don't worry, it doesn't really hurt my feelings if you do. So thanks for watching, guys. Peace.